Hello all of you beautiful people, Jules here for WhatCulture.com. And you know what, there's something so utterly satisfying when it comes to making it through a particularly difficult video game section. Whether it's beating the final boss that's been giving you an almighty beatdown, or threading the needle through a horrendously challenging gauntlet, yet even when games aren't being played, they can sometimes offer some truly brilliant moments. So let's take a look at them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 awesome video game moments that happen when you're not playing. Number 8. Watching the endgame boss get destroyed. 2 worlds. Sometimes the best things happen when you put your controller down and simply stop playing. Whether it's watching the chaotic city explode around you in GTA Online or examining townsfolk go about their daily lives in Skyrim, it's very easy to just stop and quite literally smell the roses that have now been set on fire by a flying car exploding nearby. But speaking of destroying the natural order, 2 worlds actually allows you to utterly break the game in half in hilarious fashion by letting you defeat the final boss with the help of some pissed off peasants. Now when the game begins, Gandohar, the big evil, loads in next to a nearby village, and you can, if you're utterly mad, attack him right away with your low-level adventurer. Now you'll be summarily dispatched by Big G because he hits like a bus made of fists and can spit out some pretty nasty magic. Yet it's this magic that will end up cooking his own goose, because if that splash damage from one of his spells hits a nearby villager, the entire community will aggro on the boss and they'll attack him as one. All you have to do is put down your controller and enjoy the fight, because trust me, there's nothing quite like watching this supposedly terrible evil get downed by some pitchfork-wielding peasants. Number 7. The Batman villains that are hidden on the main menu. Batman Arkham City. To say that Rocksteady's Batman Arkham games are meticulous is like saying that the Riddler somewhat enjoys a crossword puzzle from time to time, a bit of an understatement. Now while I loathe to use the phrase that these games let you become the Bat, it's true that the devs went above and beyond in making the city of Gotham a moody and intensely hostile place, and as such, it was very easy to become immersed into this perma-wet grime. In fact, you might be so keen to jump into the action that you might end up missing a brilliant and loving treat that's placed right inside the opening title screen of Arkham City. You see, if the player leaves the action to play out on the opening menu, the camera will slowly revolve around a diorama, revealing Batman looking all broody and in the frame of mind to kick some spines out of other people's backs. However, if you progress through the game and beaten some of the title's iconic villains, this diorama will actually change. Now normally, there are empty segments in these scenarios, but upon beating certain bosses, these set pieces will be filled out with the relevant enemies, making for a wonderful visual of Batman going toe-to-toe with some of his greatest enemies. Number 6. Conker plays Killer Instinct. CONKER'S Bad Fur Day. Now, idle animations are pretty common in the video game space, where the developers took the time and effort to program little sequences to play out when the player has neither the time nor effort. From Crash Bandicoot getting out his yo-yos to Daxter breakdancing during a break in the action, it's often worth just waiting around to see what cool things our favourite heroes might get up to in our absence. However, one of my personal favourites is found in CONKER'S Bad Fur Day, in which Conker not only takes a little sit down but also whips out a Game Boy to bash away on. Making things even better, however, and infinitely more awesome, is if you can strain your ears, you might be able to make out the exact title that Conker is playing. The distinctive beats and sound effects are coming from another rare classic, Killer Instinct. How cool is that? Watching one of the most iconic rare mascots taking time out of his own adventure to have a blast on another classic. Number 5. Weapons Check. Metro 2033. Sometimes an idle animation is awesome not because it shows the character doing something relaxing or humorous, but because of the sheer effort it must have taken to make by the developers. The Metro franchise isn't one that messes around when it comes to world building and immersion, hitting the player with stunningly visceral vistas and keeping the tension high with radiation spikes, scarce ammo, and utterly ferocious enemies. Even when taking a break, one has to be on guard at all times in this world, and this is actually smartly reflected in the idle animations, in which, depending on what weapon you have equipped, your character will examine, clean, and test them out in different ways, making sure that their kit is in pristine working order. Watching them clean out the finger holds on a sword or inspect the barrel of a gun never fails to be impressive, especially considering how many different animations there are, and all showcase the skitterish energy of survival at all costs, which permeates the entire game from start to finish. Oh, and some of them are just hilarious as well. Number 4. WARIO finally apologizes. WARIO World. If there's one thing that pretty much everyone knows about Mario's evil counterpart, Wario, aside from the fact that he loves gold more than Scrooge McDuck, is that this rotund rotter is absolutely disgusting. From farting at his enemies to picking his nose, this belligerent and angry little wart of a character is as ugly on the inside as he is on the outside. He's also extremely, infuriatingly annoying, taunting both the player and other characters in his games countless times over across his tenure, and at no point does he ever seem remorseful for his aggy attitude. Except that is, for one genuine moment in Wario World, but oh my lord, are you gonna have to work for it. When you pause this rather phenomenal title, you'll have your ears assaulted by him singing in a rather taunting manner. Well, I say singing, cats being drowned carry a better tune. Still, if you're able to endure this punishment for an entire hour, then Wario will finally relent from his screeching and grumble, "Sorry." Finally, after all of these years, a singular apology. It was hell to experience, but it's a rather awesome moment of humility, even if it's probably not a heartfelt one. Number 3, Nightmare Lives, Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast. The titular Soul Calibur weapon is something that is sought after for both pure and nefarious reasons by all of the game's roster, with some looking to wield the power of the William Birkin-looking butter knife and others seeking to destroy it completely. However, one of the biggest challenges standing in the way of each of the fighters is the sword itself, which lends a portion of its power to whichever unlucky chump is carrying it at the time. But aside from offering them great power, the sword corrupts the mind of the warrior, making them into a vessel of pure hatred. Yet, even scarier than this is the fact that Soul Calibur is so powerful that not even the pause menu can stop it. Shutting down the action during a fight isn't something that you might expect to happen often, seeing as the main goal is to batter your opponent into base elements. However, if you do so happen to need a break, you'll see the eye of the Soul Calibur moving around, twitching in unbridled anger as the rest of the world is forced to stop, which is utterly creepy. Number 2, win the game before it even begins, Takeshi's Challenge. For those of you not in the know, Takeshi's Castle is one of the most irreverent and insane TV game shows ever to exist. Hundreds of people rock up each episode to make it through a gauntlet of crazy challenges in order to try and assault the infamous Takeshi's Castle in the pursuit of glory and, well, the show never actually tells you what else they win. So take this incredible energy and apply it to a video game, and what you get is Takeshi's Challenge for the Famicom. An utter deep dive down the rabbit hole. In this game, you'll gamble away your money, divorce your wife, hang glide, fight goons, all in the name of, well, again, we don't actually ever know why. If all of this sounds like it's a bit too much, however, why don't you just beat the game before it officially begins by pressing the punch button 20,000 times? Yeah, it's a huge amount of work, but technically, this is a way of beating the game without it ever actually beginning. I mean, yes, technically you are playing and that you are doing a button input, but you're not playing the game yet, so technically, I'm right. And number 1, you are never safe. Fatal Frame series. Thanks to horror video games and their insistence to never let us sleep again ever, the pause screen might be seen as something of a savior to your sanity from time to time. The ability to pause just when a horrifying new enemy shows up, giving you enough time to scream, settle, and then steal your nerves can truly help in a pinch. But of course, seeing as this is a genre that looks to remove any and all safety nets possible, even these moments of respite can be turned against you. From SCP Containment Breach calling you a coward for pausing and then even unhelpfully unpausing the game for you, to other titles that mock your attempt to escape, taking a break can sometimes lead to more unpleasant images, which is a gimmick that the Fatal Frame series has utterly run away with. Across all of the games in the franchise, if you're to leave the game alone for a few moments, creepy images and sounds will start to infect the screen. In the original, the screen would become covered in bloody handprints. In the sequel, images of a creepy face would appear, and worst of all, in Fatal Frame 3, The Tormented, you'd not only see a horrifying face staring back at you, but the game's image would distort in disturbing ways. Cheers for that, I definitely didn't need to sleep anyway. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 awesome video game moments that happen when you're not playing. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, that's Dice with a C, where I do all of my streaming outside of work, and it'd be great to see you over there, my friends. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Sometimes in life, taking a break can be very useful indeed. It gives you a chance to rest, to heal up both physically and spiritually, and also allows you to to evaluate your situations with a bit more perspective. Looking at these scenarios in different ways allows you to see where you're spending your energy and, in many cases, where you might be spending your energy incorrectly. So taking a step back will allow you to recharge and allow you to see where sometimes you might even need to ask for help, and there is no shame in that, my friend. I just want you to live a healthy and happy life. That's all I ever want from you. Now go out there and smash it, you big ledge. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.